Hey everyone, my name is Joe Bartle. I'm going through the three players I love and hate entering week 14. Yes, it's Buymageddon part 2, so you're going to have to make decisions and likely roster things, whether it be the playoffs or final weeks before the playoffs. These are tough spots, tough questions, and I understand the optimism with Russell Wilson, especially after his game last week against the Bengals. We got to pump the brakes just a little bit, though, on the passing quarterback here. The Bengals give up production to anyone. We're going to test that theory here this week with Cooper Rush and the Cowboys on Monday Night Football. Thanks, ESPN, for not flexing that crappy game out there, but that's a different point altogether. I'm not confident Russell Wilson is going to be a quarterback one. And we're talking about quarterback 1 through 12 in a 12-team league. Do you want to start Russell Wilson? The Browns defense is pretty good. I know 2 weeks ago in the blizzard, Russell Wilson produced effectively quarterback 1 numbers, but the Browns defense has done better really since Jameis Winston has taken over as the quarterback. Not surprising that you actually have a quarterback you want to try for, therefore the defense plays better. I don't think Russell Wilson is right in that range. He's close. I'm not saying you're not playing Russell Wilson over a bunch of guys, but I'd rather have Sam Darnold. I'd rather play Matthew Stafford. I'd rather play Tua. I'd probably rather play Jameis Winston, given that he just continues to produce, even if he throws picks. All those quarterbacks are guys I'd start over Russell Wilson, so therefore Wilson by default right outside that quarterback 1 conversation this week. I'm also out on Amari Cooper. Now, this was one of those that I was touting everywhere. Stay away from Amari Cooper after he was traded to the Bills. That looks like a great play in hindsight, but I was pounding the table even before then. We made some bets here in the office saying Amari Cooper is going to fall outside the wide receiver 1 range. And it's not that Amari Cooper's bad. I think actually he's a really good talent. It's just the Bills don't need a wide receiver 1. We saw that. That's the reason why they traded away Stephon Diggs last year. It's why they didn't use him towards the end when Joe Brady took over as offensive coordinator for the Bills. He has 13 total targets. 13 total targets in the past 4 weeks. You're hoping for a touchdown. That's what we do for Nick Westbrook-Akine. That's what we do for Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Not a Pro Bowl receiver and one of the better receivers of the past decade in Amari Cooper. It's wild to me that we've gotten to this point, but it's just the Bills' offense and the way they operate. I'd rather have Adam Thielen. I'd rather play Darnell Mooney. I'd rather play Juwan Jennings or Elijah Moore. We're talking about wide receiver 3 territory for Amari Cooper, and he's well outside the list of at least attractive waiver wire names for me this week, even with 6 teams on bye. Finally, last player I hate, and this is perpetual hate. We're marking this down entire career. I will never make this mistake again. Whisper that to yourselves, echo it in the mirror. I don't care what it is. Kyle Pitts is on my hate list for eternity. I've been rope-a-doped on Kyle Pitts for 3+ years. Massive high-stakes leagues. I've talked myself into the idea that this year, Kyle Pitts is going to be good. I'm done with this crap. I'm absolutely done with it. It's clearly not an Arthur Smith thing. It's the Falcons thing. I don't know what it is. The talent is obviously there, but he can't produce at all. Any point, whenever it matters. Kyle Pitts, no. I'm done with it. 2 targets? You're kidding me. Under 40% of the snaps? Come on. I'm done. Pitts is an outright drop for me. I'm going to the Will Disleys of the world, who also didn't play well last week. Thanks, Will, after I recommended you. There's so many other players. I would rather drop Kyle Pitts right now and allow the next person to pick him up to be the roster poison that he's been for me and everyone else over the past 3 years. Kyle Pitts is done. Complete drop. I'm not considering him anymore. I don't care what the matchup looks like. I'm out. Goodbye, Kyle Pitts. Goodbye forever. Hey, if you like the content, just a reminder, please like this video, but also subscribe to the RotoWire YouTube channel. We have a lot of NFL content gearing up for the fantasy playoffs, dynasty stuff, and Lazowski's that you cover now as we get into that more. And moving over to the 3 players I like this week, you might not realize it, given Brock Bowers has been awesome. And by the way, I'm putting it on that Brock Bowers should be Rookie of the Year. I don't care about Jaden Daniels or Bo Nix or any other quarterbacks. Brock Bowers has easily been the best rookie, and that's what matters to me. I know it doesn't matter to everyone else who votes for it, so it's going to be the quarterback award like it always is. Brock Bowers, Rookie of the Year, not that it matters. Jakobi Meyers has also been really, really good for the Raiders. 26 targets combined over the past 2 weeks. And if you go back to week 9, he's averaging over 10 targets a game. I thought Aiden O'Connell would sink this offense, and maybe it might, but they have a really good rest of season schedule, at least during the fantasy playoffs, that I would like to capitalize on for the Raiders passing attack. You're not necessarily playing Aiden O'Connell, and it makes me very, very nervous because I think he's probably like a top 40 quarterback in the league. But if he can just throw to Brock Bowers and just throw to Jakobi Meyers, that's enough. And we've seen now for a month straight That's what the Raiders offense wants to do, is get those two guys involved. I would rather play Jakobi Meyers over Juwan Jennings. I would rather play him over Jordan Addison. At this point, Jalen Waddle is benchable, but you're certainly playing Jakobi Meyers over Jalen Waddle as well, too. I'm playing Jakobi Meyers over Devontae Adams and Jackson Smith-Njigba, and JSN's been awesome over the past 3 weeks. That's how confident I am. I think Jakobi Meyers is very clearly and comfortably a wide receiver 2 at minimum and a flex play this week. This love mention is probably more for shallow leagues, but there's certainly roster builds where Chase Brown is your running back 3 or 4, and he needs to be a must start this week. The Cowboys' run defense has allowed the 4th most rushing yards this season. They've gotten better. The past 2 weeks against the Commanders and Giants have been pretty good, but when they've won against true bell cow running backs, Joe Mixon, Saquon Barkley, Bijan Robinson, the 3 weeks prior, every one of them was averaging over 5 yards a carry and effectively had 20-plus touches. I don't think it's quite that many plays, or I don't think it's quite that many runs for Chase Brown, but he's a really good running back against a really bad defense, and there's going to be a lot of points. Chase Brown is running back 8 for me this week. He's a guaranteed starter. I'm playing over Kenneth Walker, Aaron Jones. I'm playing over Breece Hall. I'm playing over waiver wire stud Isaac Guerrero. Like, this is an obvious spot for Chase Brown to at least be a layup, if not a smash overall. I think you have to have Chase Brown in your lineup. The last love on my list, and it's tough when we talked about quarterbacks earlier with Russell Wilson, it hasn't been pretty, but Sam Darnold has been a quarterback 1, quarterback 12 in this case, in 4 of the past 5 weeks based off of ESPN scoring. That's largely due to passing touchdowns. Despite Aaron Jones, I think is a really good running back in the red zone, Darnold has at least 2 passing touchdowns in 5 of the past 6 weeks. The Falcons have allowed the 9th most passing touchdowns in the league this season, and they're 1 touchdown away from allowing the 6th most this season. That stuff can be hard to replicate week to week, but if Darnold is throwing touchdowns and the Falcons are allowing passing touchdowns, this feels like a really easy 1-for-1 deal in my mind. I think the revenge game for Kirk Cousins is going to matter. I think his teammates are going to play better, and Kirk Cousins certainly can't play worse than he did last week against the Chargers. So by default, the Vikings offense is going to have to keep pace. I think Sam Darnold is, again, a top 12 quarterback play this week, and I'm going to play Darnold over Russell Wilson, like we talked about earlier. I'm going to play him over Caleb Williams, who's looked really good in recent weeks. I'm playing Sam Darnold over Justin Herbert and Jameis Winston, too. I think it's very clear that the Vikings quarterback, at least this week, is still in quarterback 1 territory.